What is good? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chuck. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you to everybody who dropped by on the stream yesterday. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. Um, TCG Player sale, Black Friday. Today is the last day, so things are still moving. I'm going to give some more thoughts there, another update on that, as well as some good buys that I think are out there, as well as where I think investor sentiment is kind of finding some footing. Um, but I think the kind of bigger headline for today is that we are still missing cards from Ascended Heroes. We have touched on this already. Obviously, there's going to be a Mega Charizard Y, which is yet to be revealed, as well as 4 other SIRs and a handful, maybe a dozen or so illustration rares. Um, Probably between now and when it is released. So Ascended Heroes is made up of Mega Dream and Start Deck 100 Battle Collection. Start Deck 100 Battle Collection comes out December 19th. I don't know when typically things get leaked or revealed before then, or when packs are ripped early. I would assume the week of, probably the week leading up to the 19th, but there's a chance that we see some reveals this week or next, which will be really interesting. And we don't know what the other 4 SIRs are going to be. We are almost positive one of them is going to be a Charizard, because on the English pack, the Charizard is on the pack. Not that that's always a good indication, but if you look at the Mega Dream pack, no Charizard. So, and then of course on the Battle Collection start deck, there is a Charizard. And it'll probably be the Stunfisk, Clefairy, Audino. The other 4 are probably not going to be super notable. Some people think it could be the Feraligatr, Emboar, and the Meganium, which would be really interesting. I think these are decent, Mega Evolutions. If the Feraligator's helmet is down, it'll look way cooler. If it's up, forget about it. So, yeah, Mega Charizard Y. Probably going to be a sensational card if I had to guess. If it's anything like Charizard X, which I don't know if you've forgotten, this card is amazing. And then also a gold card for Charizard Y, which we have actually seen in French. So we do know that that's basically confirmed, because the Dragonite was the same too when that one was leaked. So just putting that out there. Ascended Heroes, the saga has not ended as far as hype goes. I know there's a lot of people who know there's gonna be a Charizard, but I think people just saw Mega Dream and they realized, or they thought that that was the whole set, and it's not. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm sure you'll hear about it once it gets released. In other news, I don't really care that much about this, but it's worth mentioning. There is a whole article written on it, and I have seen some videos. Some Mega Attack Rares have been printed with a texture layer, which was intended for Chinese cards, because Japanese and Chinese cards are printed in the same factories. So there's a number of these like Mega Attack Rare cards that have like Chinese overlays or some type of printing error on them that are making them very valuable. The Air MAR version is going for 262, while the regular is going for 29. So they're very subtle. If you're like me and you don't rip Japanese packs, it doesn't even really matter. It's just another niche that is created out there, I guess. So, ever wondered what your collection is worth? Well, the Shiny app is here to help. It allows you to track all the prices of your products and updates 2 times per day. The Shiny app pulls data from both eBay and TCG Player to keep your collection's value as accurate as possible. Not to mention, it has the most seamless user interface in the game. I love using it. I love how it looks. It's so easy to use. And the best part is, it is totally free. The links are down below if you'd like to try it out. Thanks again, Shiny. TCG Player, Cyber Weekend sale, 10% store credit up to $50 is still active. And the PayPal 20% off buy in 4 on the rewards tab on the site is also still active. So today is kind of your last chance to get some of these deals, but if you've been watching, I suspect that prices will not hold where they currently are, and I think we'll see a little bit of a drop post-sale, because there is a big incentive to purchase these at these prices. But I don't think it'll drop really significantly beyond that. I think Sword and Shield especially is starting to find a bottom. There are fewer and fewer boxes out there for sale. They do not get listed very often locally, and if they do, people are buying them. But there you go, 10% off, kind of, is a catalyst for a lot more volume, which we'll go through some products here. Fusion Strike, over $800. I suspected that most things that are over $500 would have less volume, mostly because the market is more attuned to buying cheaper products right now, especially, and that goes for slabs too. But you also max out your TCG credit at $50, meaning you'd have to spend $500. Any dollar over that, you don't get any more credit on that transaction. So it's kind of a dual part storm there. But, 5 boxes sold for Fusion Strike, which isn't really that many, but it does suggest that prices in the 800s are kind of where the floor seems to be at for Fusion Strike. And I think the market is still accepting Fusion Strike being this expensive. And there are some alternatives out there that I think more people are willing to shell a little money out, like, Brilliant Stars, for instance. Again, sub 500 or about 500 now. 42 sold so far on this sale, which kind of goes to show that maybe there's some more positive sentiment on Brilliant Stars, but given its price point, it's nearly half the cost. People are willing to get exposure to a very good set. Some would say it's better than Fusion Strike. I wouldn't hate that opinion, although Gengar is Gengar. But yeah, I mean, positive sell through here. Time will tell if this will hold up. It definitely seems like it's not going to. We have, it's typical that you would have the most volume at the beginning of the sale when it's a little bit more speculative as to whether prices could keep increasing. People put in their orders before. And then as time goes on, more get listed. And there's not a ton of buying pressure right now for Sword and Shield boxes at these prices. But there is some buying pressure. And I think as time goes on, the sentiment for buying them will improve, and then it will make another run in the future. Let's look at some other boxes here. Celebrations, similar story. 30th anniversary, probably in September-ish of next year. 46 boxes, 15 about, today or so, which is pretty positive to see. And I think Celebrations has a pretty good chance of making a run up here to $300 over the next, 4 or 5 months or so. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all, just given the 30th happening pretty soon. Prismatic is still doing very well, although we are having some anticipation for some drops coming up soon. But great volume here at $120 to $130, 154 sold, and then another 150 sold. So the demand is still there for Prismatic. I think people are thinking long term for this set as one that you just want to accumulate as much as possible. It's popular on Rip and Shipping, and there are deals to be had out there for Prismatic, especially at MSRP, as we keep getting more drops and the the figure collections and the Lucario box and the ETBs and all the above. It still is just a beast that continues to move, and it's very impressive, and that's also including the bundles too. Paldean Fates, we actually just got more product last night on Walmart. Congratulations if you got that. It seems most people did if you were early to the queue. It was a limit of 5, and they were retailing for $75. $80 roughly after tax, give or take. Selling for about $120. Not a ton of volume on these. I think people are just wanting to get more of them. And to me, it feels like, or waiting to get more drops of them, I should say. 11 packs, so not a ton of packs in there. The promos are pretty unremarkable, but not bad for the most part. Doesn't feel like we're going to be getting a ton more Paldean Fates after this. And so far, as far as I know, these boxes are online only, Walmart exclusive. So I think maybe 100,000 were loaded last night, which is a pretty healthy amount of stock, don't get me wrong. But these are going to get broken down into loose packs. They're going to get sold off. They're going to get ripped as people enjoy the set, and it is a popular in-demand set, and it does well ripping shipping. I don't think it drops significantly from this point. I think the lowest that it could be is $100, and I think honestly at $100, given where Paldean Fates is being rotated out officially in April, there's probably not a ton of potential for this set to get released after that point in huge quantities. Around $100, you're talking slightly less than $10 a pack. Long term, it's going to be a great deal. Even better at MSRP, it goes without saying. But look, it's a great set. It's an A tier set, maybe even an S tier set. And it's getting old. And for $100, if it gets to that point, it's going to be a pretty good buy, in my opinion. That's only like $20 off MSRP. You're talking tax too. So keep your eyes on this, see what happens. And I bet a lot of them are going to get listed on Facebook pretty soon. Destined Rivals is like probably the best performing set of this TCG Player sale. Boxes are over $400 officially again, with good volume selling. 83, 26, and 43. Compare that to Fusion Strike. Compare that to Brilliant Stars. Compare that to anything. It's very impressive. I do believe that we are going to get more product at some point in the future. If we do, I will be buying it. My side quest is still on. I buy Destined Rivals, I put it in a box, and that's that. This is going to be a Grail set in the future. There's no doubt in my mind. Team Rocket, great chase cards, great illustration rares. And it's $400, which is unfortunate. But I think if you dollar cost average into a set like this, long term, you're going to be doing well. We all know this is going to be a $1,500 box probably in 5 years. So, you're talking about 2xing, which is pretty awesome. 3xing even over that period of time is pretty phenomenal investing gains, in my opinion. So, Destined Rivals always going to be under threat to get more product out there. I'm sure we're going to get a ton of packs in the future. ETBs are begging for a reprint. Volume on these has been trending up and up. There's a ton of demand for these, given how displayable they are. The promo's decent, and there's not a lot of them out there at the moment. Pokemon Center ETBs have dropped a bit, but some volume came in, so there's a lot of support around that $300 price point. And most people only have one, so they're kind of less willing to sell them. I'm interested in sleeve booster packs. I will be buying as many of these as I can at MSRP going forward. I think these are great. They look phenomenal. Art sets are going to do well for this set. There's not really anything I think is going to be bad for the set, transparently. It's just one I want more of, and I'm looking forward to getting more product. I just don't think right now is the best time for me personally. So, I bought a lot of Surging Sparks boxes at around $200 to $220-ish dollars. Rough cost, probably around $205 average across all of them. In Surging Sparks, the story has been that volume hasn't ever really died. Even up to $300, there was still volume there. So there is demand for this set, despite how you feel about the Pikachu. People like this set. It's one of the main sets that kicked off this bull run, in addition to Twilight and Prismatic. One of the first boxes to really start moving that was sub MSRP, that pretty much went up to MSRP very quickly. But as prices have dropped, volume has picked up. That's the key thing. And in this sale, we had 67 plus 11 plus 12 and 6 sales today at $250 average, which is very, very impressive. Fewer and fewer of these are on the local markets. They will be dried up, probably gone by the end of January completely, or being resold for, close to $300. But I'm expecting this box to move up. 250 is pretty much where it's at. I would say locally, maybe 230. Maybe you can find some cheaper boxes here and there from people who don't really know. So now's a good time for surging still. Crazy to say. But that, as it gets closer to $300, I don't want to buy closer to that price. Rather capitalize in this low point. Maybe look at some older sets like Sword and Shield, which is exactly what I'm doing. I also bought a Lost Origin box, which is performing decently well. Not very crazy. I think I spent after tax like $700. So I got the 10% back on TCG Player, so $50 in store credit. I also used my PayPal coupon to one-time use. I used it on this set, so I got 20% back in cash back. So effectively, not including the TCG Player credit, I got this box for about $560 plus $50 store credit. That's not girl math. That's real money coming back to my pocket that I will be funding towards the purchase of this, which is a great buy in my opinion. So 23, 7, 14, and 2 sold today. I wouldn't be surprised to see this hit $700, but in the 600s is where Lost Origin, is kind of reaching some price consensus, in my opinion. I think if it gets anywhere near $600, there will be a buyout. But for $650, great buy. For $700, still a good buy. Like, remember, this box was $800 for like 2 months. 2 months ago. So it has history of being in that price. And I think in the 600s is really good value given how this set is viewed, the quality of the set, and where the future potential is. So just generally speaking there. Moving on, Paldea Evolved, doing very well. 57 sold, 15 sold. We'll call it 75 boxes over this sale, and volume was dead, absolutely dead. So it goes to show that you give people a 10% discount, even though it's not even really a discount, it's just store credit. That's kind of where we are in the market. 10 to 20% drops, people feel a little bit more confident to spend more money on these boxes because they are expensive. They have run up quite a bit this year. Don't forget, it wasn't long ago this was like a $200 box at the beginning of the year. It was $188. So, it might take 6 months or so for people to really kind of consolidate at these price levels. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that they're going to be good buys over the next few years, and I'm loading up as much as I can. Paradox Rift, I'm not buying, but it has had some sales, 12, 11, 8. So there is some support in the low 200s, 230, 240. Which is, again, pretty impressive for a set that a lot of people don't really care about. But again, it's going to benefit from that narrative, that rotation boom narrative out in, in the future in April. And it's not a terrible set, in my opinion. I think it's fun to rip. It has some reasonably decent chase cards, but I wouldn't be parking a ton of money into this personally. I'd rather have Paldea Evolved if I were to choose those booster boxes, but 151 Paldean Fates is just the best opportunity amongst these early sets, in my opinion. And I might even make a video on it coming up here, because it could be a generational opportunity long term. Paldean Fates, I mean. Mega Evolution is actually doing pretty well, all things considered. There are way more of these listed in local markets, so it's not one that people were really targeting for this sale, but it did have 23, 17, 15, 2 sold today, which isn't horrible. And it makes sense as to why that would be the case. Phantasmal is actually doing even better. Look at the volume for this. 232 sold that first day of the sale. 109, 24 today at 265. Say what you want about Phantasmal Flames, and I know there's probably going to be another wave coming. A lot of people think this could be the first box that gets to MSRP, and I don't really disagree. But if you look at the sales volume for this box, people are buying it more than Mega Evolution even. And that is something people aren't really talking about. There is good sales volume for this set. The question is, how long does it last? And I don't know. We're getting a lot more in vending machines. We're probably going to get a second wave. That will be the ultimate test. But for now, things are looking pretty healthy for Phantasmal. But I could see it going easily to $200. If it goes below, I don't know. I still think there will be better investing opportunities out there. But if you get a box in a vending machine, that's a score. That's a win. Which is, again, if you were to sell it, you'd make $70. But, like, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's going to go that much below MSRP if it were to get there. Who knows? I don't know. Mega Charizard X UPC doing very well in this sale too. 236, 131, 194, and 25. That is kind of crazy. Low key. So there is demand for this. Look at the sell-through on this. 949 listed, up to 210. 4,500 have sold in the last month. Obviously, it just came out, but the volume is still really high this far after release here. At 183 bucks, there's not a ton of downside for this. I guess in some people's minds, you know, if you bought it for 119 plus tax, you paid 130 for $50 extra. It's not really that bad. So I guess that's what people are kind of thinking. And, you know, it is a good product. It's not one I'm rushing to buy, but it will do well eventually. Once the supply shock kind of stops and boxes get ripped and all that. But the promos are good. The pack selection's solid. 18 packs as well. 4 Destined Rivals, 4 Mega Evolution, 4 Phantasmal, 4 Journey, and 2 Surging. It's pretty decent. It's not surprising to see it perform well. Obviously, Probstein is back on eBay. I don't recommend using them, but it is interesting to see what is selling on the platform. Some auctions are starting to end here. Their first wave is of bids are starting to, you know, show up on the sold comps here. But it looks like not a ton of them have really hit quite yet. If we go to unsold, let's take a look. You can see some bids here. Sort by ending soonest. Let's end soonest with bids, actually. Yeah. A lot of cards still selling. It's kind of like they didn't really miss anything. I was going to say minimum 200 just to get rid of some of the junkier stuff. Legendary Collection Charizard 9.5 ends in 7 hours, going for 2K at the moment. That'll go up more. Scarlet and Violet 151. A lot of 20. 1375. Evolving Skies, current bid 1850. I could see this box going, I can see this box going sub 2K. Anything under 2K for this box is a good buy, in my opinion. Cosmic, probably going to end around 3K, I would imagine. Evolution's a box that I've always wanted to own, but I'm not willing to shell out the money for. 1,800, give or take. And yeah, just a number of sealed things that are ending soon. So I might come back here. I might revisit this and see what's going on, but it's kind of hard to find deals with Probstein. There's too many eyeballs looking at it. It's kind of the way it is. But yes, things are still relatively healthy there. Locally, you're seeing a lot of Mega Evolution. You're seeing a lot of ETBs. Here's a Scalper Special all day long. I might start offering like 70-75% on some of these lots because people are wanting to dump them and reclaim their capital because they're a little bit over leveraged. If you can get them for 70-75%, you're just making money, in my opinion, even at the current market prices. Yeah, nothing crazy here locally. All kind of the same stuff that you guys have also seen. So I might make some plays on some Paldean Fates packs. We'll see if I get them for a good price. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about today. If you got the Black Bolt White Flare PC ETB drop today, congrats. I missed it. I was busy. It is what it is. We'll get more drops in the future, but it is interesting to see more PCTBs get dropped on Pokemon Centers. So who knows what's going to happen in the future, but obviously if you get them, definitely worth getting. Or if you can. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks again to the Shiny app. And thank you again for all the support, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm a bit tired from the week, and work is really picking up for me. So these next 3 weeks are going to be pretty brutal. So thanks for sticking with me here. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And I will see you very soon in the next one. Goodbye.